Here's a bonus example on parasitic resistance. Given this IV characteristic and parasitic resistances of a particular FET with the source and the drain parasitic resistances shown, both set at 80 ohms, what is the channel resistance? And we're going to get it by looking at the measured data. The channel resistance is the intrinsic resistance that the channel has outside of the parasitics. The measured data includes the parasitics. First question I should ask actually is, what is the overall source to drain resistance? So let's look at the characteristic curve, IV characteristic as given. Only one curve is shown. Normally there's a whole series of curves, but I'm only showing the curve where the gate source voltage equals the power supply V sub DD source of voltage, which in this case happens to be 1 volt. I have a data point on here. At a drain source voltage of 0.2 volts, the drain source current is 500 microamps per micron. That per micron refers to the width of the channel. So if you wanted to know the actual current going through the channel, you would multiply that 500 by the width of the channel in microns. And so this is a little bit more of a general curve than your typical IV characteristics, such as, for example, figure 616 on page 211 of the textbook, which is an IV curve for a very specific width. In this case, it's for all transistors of this type, regardless of their widths. You first find the total resistance of the FET from the measured data. That's R, we'll call R, and that's the slope of the linear region, the inverse slope. And so R is 0.2 volts divided by 0.0005 amps per micron. That comes out to 400 ohm microns. Again, that micron refers to the channel width, so you divide the 400 by the width of the channel to get the total resistance of the FET. Now if I want to know the channel resistance, which is just the intrinsic resistance of the FET, that is not including those parasitics, all I have to do is take the 400 ohms and subtract out the parasitics. So I'll call it the channel resistance is just, it's R sub CH, is 400 minus those two parasitics, which are both 80 ohm microns. So that's 240 ohm microns. That's the actual channel resistance. We're able to get that because we had givens, had the parasitics as givens. Suppose you need to extract the electron mobility out of this given data. Well, now there's probably a little more information that you need, but let's see how to do it and maybe see if we have almost enough information. Let's begin with looking at drain source voltage and related to drain source current. Use the definitional relation between voltage and current. The proportionality between them is the channel resistance. So the drain source voltage is the channel resistance times the drain source current. I can write it like that, but we also have derived in the textbook from geometrical arguments the IV characteristic of the FET. Let's bring that in. That's equation 664 from the book. That also gives you the drain source current versus the drain source voltage, and it looks like this. Now you compare these two expressions and you realize that in the second equation it's I drain source equals stuff times voltage drain source, where that stuff is 1 over the channel resistance. Equate these two expressions, the second and the first are equal to each other. Drain source voltage factors cancel out right away, and solve it for mobility. And just rearrange the whole stuff. That should actually should be a sub ns on that mu. That's the electron surface mobility. And we see what else we need to know to calculate the mobility. We need to know the channel length. We need to know the channel width, W. We need to know the threshold voltage, V threshold. You can't back that out of the data that was given in the previous graph. You need to know the bulk charge factor, M, which is very close to 1. In fact, it's usually safe just to use 1 for M. Now you have drain source voltage in the expression for mobility, which kind of doesn't make sense, because what that's saying is that mobility depends on the electric field. In the linear region, velocity is mobility times electric field, and if you're linear, mobility does not depend on the electric field. In the linear region, the V sub ds is a lot smaller than V sub gs. V sub ds is basically a small number. And so we're going to neglect the V sub ds in the denominator and just do the calculation without it. We'll say it's much less than the gate source in the linear region. And so plug in all these things that are given. Take a length of 100 nanometers and a width of 1 micron and a oxide thickness of 2 nanometers. So those are some typical numbers. I'll throw in here also given of the threshold voltage is a few tenths of a volt typically, and we'll use 0.3. Plug them all in, and the reason why I kind of draw that out there, that calculation, is because these equations get cumbersome, and you really got to watch the units. And L and W, for example, I put them both in nanometers. That's okay. I'm dividing them by each other. I could put them both in miles. It would still work. Our channel, I didn't just use 240 ohms, that's what it is, but that's only coincidental because the width is 1 micron. If the width were something else, then I would have to use that. But the width is 1 micron. Remember, you take the 240 ohm microns divided by the width of the channel, and then you have the channel resistance. 3.9 is the dielectric constant for silicon dioxide, so that's in there, as is the oxide thickness of 2 nanometers. And we have the electron surface mobility of 400 square centimeters per volt second.